You stand up, walk into another room, and suddenly you have absolutely no idea why you're there. It feels like your brain just deleted itself. You stand there for a moment, looking around, hoping the answer will magically appear. Then, just as you're about to give up, you remember. But what if walking through the doorway is exactly what caused you to forget? As strange as that sounds, psychologists think it might be, and they've actually tested it. Imagine your brain as a giant filing cabinet. Every thought, every conversation, every task gets filed into tiny mental folders. Most of the time, you move from one task to another without noticing. But sometimes, something tells your brain, this is a new chapter. And one of the strongest signals for that is walking through a doorway. In 2006, researchers at the University of Notre Dame decided to investigate this strange phenomenon. Psychologists Gabriel Radvansky and David Copeland designed an experiment that looked surprisingly simple. People picked up objects, carried them across a room, and sometimes walked through a doorway before setting them down. Other times, they walked exactly the same distance, but stayed in the same room. Nothing else changed. Same objects, same distance, same amount of time. Only one difference: the doorway. The results were surprisingly consistent. People who walked through a doorway were significantly more likely to forget what they had just been carrying. Simply crossing into a new room disrupted their memory. Researchers called it the doorway effect. At first, that sounds like a flaw. Surely your brain shouldn't forget things just because you changed rooms. But your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's organizing. Every room represents a different context. The kitchen, the bedroom, the garage, the office. Each one usually comes with different goals, different memories, different tasks. Your brain quietly uses those boundaries to organize your experiences. Like chapters in a book, when one chapter ends, the next one begins. And sometimes the previous chapter gets temporarily filed away. Think about reading a novel. You probably remember what happened in the chapter you're reading, but details from 3 chapters ago are harder to recall. Not because they're gone, because your brain has moved on. Walking through a doorway appears to do something remarkably similar. It tells your brain that task is finished, even if it isn't. This idea connects to something psychologists call event segmentation theory. A researcher named Jeffrey Zaks has spent his career studying it. Your brain doesn't record life as one long movie. Instead, it automatically cuts your day into smaller events. Breakfast, driving to work, walking into the office, starting a meeting, eating lunch. Each becomes its own mental episode. Doorways, turns, elevators, even getting into your car, can all act as boundaries between those episodes. Most of the time, this system is incredibly useful. Without it, your memories would become one giant blur. Instead, your brain creates neat little folders, making it easier to remember what belongs together. So, why do you suddenly remember what you were doing the moment you walk back into the original room? Because the old context comes back. The sights, the sounds, the layout, they act as retrieval cues. It's like reopening the folder your brain had temporarily put away. The memory wasn't deleted. It was simply harder to access. The room itself helped unlock it. This happens far more often than you realize. Ever walked downstairs, forgotten why, then remembered the instant you walked back upstairs? That's context. Ever opened your refrigerator and stared blankly inside? Not because you were hungry, but because the reason you opened it had already slipped away. Your brain had switched gears. Again, here's something even stranger. Researchers recreated the doorway effect in virtual reality. People walked through digital rooms instead of real ones. The result? The forgetting still happened. Your brain didn't care whether the doorway was real. It only cared that it believed you'd entered a new environment. That's how deeply this system is built into us. So why would evolution give us a brain that forgets things? Because forgetting isn't always a weakness. Sometimes it's exactly what makes thinking possible. Imagine trying to solve a problem while your brain insisted on keeping every single thought active forever. Every conversation, every grocery list, every random song lyric. You'd never focus on anything. Instead, your brain constantly decides what's important right now and quietly moves everything else into storage. Usually, it's remarkably good at that. Occasionally, it files something away a little too soon. Like the reason you walked into the kitchen. Modern life probably makes this even more noticeable. We're constantly interrupted. A phone notification, a text message, someone calling your name, an email. Each interruption creates another mental context switch. Sometimes your brain is juggling so many tasks that one doorway is all it takes to lose track of the original one. The good news? There's a simple trick. Before walking into another room, say your goal out loud. I'm getting the scissors, I'm grabbing my keys, I'm making coffee. Speaking the task reinforces it. It gives your working memory one more anchor before your brain starts a new chapter. It won't work every time, but surprisingly often, it does. So the next time you walk into a room, freeze, wonder why you're there, and feel like your brain has betrayed you. Remember this: your memory didn't disappear. Your brain wasn't broken. It was simply doing what it has done for hundreds of thousands of years, organizing your world one doorway at a time. Because for a brain trying to make sense of a lifetime of memories, knowing when one chapter ends is just as important as remembering how it began. Thanks for watching Brainstorm Bob. If this made you think, hit subscribe for more curiosity, ideas, and real answers. See you in the next one.